What's up guys, it's Pragmas. Today we're going to be covering how to customize your user interface. Even if you just take one or two of these tips, I do think it could help you out, so let's get started. The first thing I'm going to say is that I am a minimalist, so I will be minimizing as many things as possible. I'm going to be linking down below a couple interesting articles that you may want to check out, but basically they just talk about the focus of your eyes being at the center of your screen. You sort of lose time and focus every time your eyes have to go further and further away from the center. We're going to keep this in mind as we customize our UI today. The first thing we're going to do is get rid of these two chat boxes. I have a video down below on how to customize your chat boxes, so definitely check that out. It mentions that I don't think there's a real point in having two up at the same time, so that you can have multiple chat boxes within the same chat box. So first I'm going to go here and I'm going to press this X right here. You can hover your mouse over the arrow here and actually customize it as much or little as you want. Next up, I'm going to get rid of this tip bar. If you are brand new, you may want this on for a couple days, but after that you pretty much know everything this says. So let's go ahead and press escape and we're going to go to edit UI. I'm going to go down here and hit this little eyeball under game tips and make sure we hide that. Now we're going to hit save and then go to general settings. Now every time we do save, we're actually going to also save to preset 1. By doing this, if your files get corrupted or any glitches happen like that, you can always go to edit UI, hit preset 1 and then hit yes. The general settings is for most of your characters, so this will transfer over. You can customize your UI for each character, which is awesome, but for the most part right now we're just going to keep it simple and save in general settings and preset 1 every time we do save. Now since we removed the tips down here, we kind of have this extra space, so I'm going to hit escape and go back into edit UI and move this down. We're going to hit save. Now the reason I have it clear here is because I went into the gear settings and I put my dialog window transparency all the way to the left. You may like it a little bit darker, but I personally like it clear. The next thing we're getting rid of are these combos right here. Again, if you're new, you may want to keep this up for a couple days and try to learn some of these, but after you do memorize these, or even if you decide to learn these later, it's definitely going to be distracting and cover up a lot of your view when you're doing PvP or anything like that. So just memorize them, take a picture of them, or plan to learn them later. Go into edit UI and then we're going to hide that one as well. Next, we're going to get rid of these annoying notifications at the top. Some people like these notifications up here, but for me personally, if I'm looking up here at this hill behind me, for example, you can't even see part of it because of those notifications. I'm going to hit escape and go into settings. We're going to go into general settings and then go into alerts. Go through these real quick and see which ones you may like to see. For me personally, I only like fitness level ups and guild missions on. Make sure you hit apply and confirm. Now I also don't like my name being up here. We have a HP bar up here, so we really don't need this here. So I'm going to hit escape, go back into settings and then go to general. We're going to go into show hide and I'm going to hit on always hide my name. I'm going to hit apply and confirm. Now I love my pets, but I really don't want to see them all the time, so I'm going to go ahead and press escape and go back into settings. So I'm going to go into general and go to show hide and I'm going to scroll down to here and I'm going to hit hide pets and also hide fairy. I'm going to hit apply and confirm. Awesome, so now it's really starting to look clean. Another thing I don't like on the screen are the quests right here, so I'm going to press escape, edit UI and then turn these off right here. We're going to save that and now it looks a lot cleaner. If you're running through a lot of quests, it might be better for you to leave these on, and that way you can press control and then hover over the next quest line and then just right click to see exactly where you need to go. You can also just left click on the text itself to see information about that quest. But if you've done most of the quests that you'll need to do and you don't think you'll need them in the future, you can always turn them off and prefer even more empty space. I do still quest occasionally, so what I do is I add them to the sidebar here. Every time you press escape, you go into the recently used menu, which is right here. You can add things or take away things from this menu by right clicking them and hitting remove menu, and you can lock them by right clicking them and hitting lock menu. This recently used bar is great because you're going to see this every time you press escape. If you want to add something to here, you're going to find it through the menu here. For example, since I don't like the quest menu here, I'm going to press escape and I'm going to go to adventure and then go to quest through here. Now that I've done this, every time I press escape, I'm going to see quest right here under recently used. I want to make sure this doesn't go away, so I'm going to right click this and also lock it. So I'm going to go ahead and lock all my top 10 favorites. So now I can have a bit more of a cleaner UI while still having access to the quests that I need. Again, everyone's different though, so modify these tips as you see fit. Next up, keep in mind that our eyes are going to be focused here. Okay, I said here, not here. I want to make sure that our HP bar is close here because having it all the way up here, even though it's a bit bigger, I feel is a bit out of the way. We're going to hit custom HP bar here. I'm going to hit save. By doing this, we can move around the HP bar, so if we go back into edit UI, I can actually move this closer to my character. Awesome, so right now it's right below my character. Next up, we're going to add more slots to our hotbar here. I'm going to hit escape. I'm going to go back into settings, go into general, and then simplification. I'm going to turn on the quick slot option and hit apply and confirm. Now we have a lot more quick slots, but they're in a mess down here. We're going to go back into edit UI. I'm going to make sure they're all turned on by hitting the eyeball if they aren't already. And then I'm going to stack them on top of each other so we have 2 rows. Already it's looking way smoother. That being said, now the black spirit rage button is down here. We want to make sure we can see that, so we're going to go ahead and move that as well. I'm going to put that right here and then move this back over here. While we're here, I do like seeing the buff list constantly as well, so I'm going to go ahead and move this right here. You don't really need kill notification on, so let's turn that off. And I want to see my stamina too more frequently, so I'm going to put this up here and hit save. There's a few things left to do. Now, all of these you can access through different methods. For example, challenge, you can just press Y. You don't necessarily need it down there. Same thing with a black spirit safe. Instead of clicking it down here, it's actually more beneficial to set it up as a hotkey and have access to it on your keyboard. For example, you can have B to set up your black spirit safe, comma to access your black spirit. All of these you can set up later, so they're very easy to set up. By having these as keyboard shortcuts, you can access them very quickly. You set up these shortcuts by going into settings and then hitting interface settings and then going into UI hotkeys. You're going to see them here, so just go through here and see which ones you want and then set them up on your keyboard. Once I have those set up, I'm going to go into edit UI and then turn off this menu. Now I don't like the space up here, so I'm going to go into edit UI and then move this mount button up here. I'm going to hit save, and already that looks great, having all my buttons at the top left. Now if you wanted to, you could set up shortcuts for some of these things. For example, if you want to have a shortcut for camping tool, you just hit alt left mouse button, then you just hit this and you can set up a shortcut. Now I do like having my buttons up here because I can see when my pets need to be fed and when my farm is ready. But if you wanted to, you could set up shortcuts for these and even hide these as well. Now I did set up the shortcut keys for this button over here. This is the find NPC button. I hit alt LMB and I set it up to alt 0. Now by doing that, I can hide those function buttons and hit save. Now those are out of the way too, and I can still access the search function by just hitting alt 0. If you hit escape and go into the switch option, you can see which server you're on. I don't really need to know what time it is all the time, and I always know what server I'm on, so I'm going to hit escape and hide those as well. I'm going to save that. Alright, so now it's looking really nice and clean. Now keep in mind our center focus thing. I'm going to move some of these buttons up here. Now if you're like me and you want these perfectly aligned and centered, it may take a few times to align them. If you do that, I would suggest show grid so that you can kind of get a more accurate representation of where these buttons are. Now one thing I do suggest definitely doing is having these skills that you use the most right here. I suggest not having too many, but you can always add a couple more. As I'm playing, I want to be able to constantly see which cooldowns I have right here for which skills I use the most. I use this buff a lot, so I'm going to put this up here. I also use these two skills a lot, so I'm going to move these up here as well. And I also use this one as well. But some of the skills you use may have an extra buff that you'll learn about more later as you adjust your skills. The way I set up my skills is that for every 9 seconds, I actually get an even more powerful attack. I like knowing when I get that extra powerful attack. But if I click this and try to drag it over to my hotkeys, I can't actually do that. You can only put the base forms for some of your skills on your hotbar down here. But since I do want to know when I get this extra attack, I'm going to go into skill cooldown slot, and I'm going to see that this one is actually set up to CD9. You can customize these later. As you can see, there's some not set. Mine's set up to CD9, so I'm going to go ahead and hit edit UI, and I'm going to turn CD9 on. I'm going to move this one down here since I don't really want that, and move CD9 here instead. So now I have the 6 skills that I use the most right here. Now make sure you set up these hotkeys by pressing Control to enable the cursor and then hover over them, then hit the gear button, hit yes, and then assign the key that you like for it. This one I like set up to X, and then this one I like set up to C. Do the same thing with these down below, and I suggest making these even as well. Now the reason my buttons snap together like this is because I have the auto align slot button on. If you want, you can actually turn that off and then move these exactly where you want. I like that on though, so I'm going to leave that on and then save it. Now I don't like having my PvP button on, so I'm going to make sure that this is off. I'm going to move my party and platoon button up here so that when we do join a party, it's a bit more out of the way as well. I'm going to save that, and bam, we are done. Now we have an extremely clean, minimalistic UI that can let us focus on the important things like our buffs, our health, and our most used skills. Now I know some of you are thinking I have a ton more skills that I want to be able to see. I do as well, so even though I think that you should have the most used skills right here, I'm going to go back into edit UI, I'm going to find the skill cooldown button, and I'm going to put this right down here below. I'm going to save that. Now whenever I use the extra skills that will pop up that I do need to know, I will see them down below and they match the rest of my skills. This is awesome. For example, let's say I want to know when I can V next. I can look down here and easily see that I can't use it for another 4 minutes. Now I have all my skills that I basically need directly down below, while still maintaining a minimalistic look. Keep customizing your UI as you continue to play the game and refine your technique and skills. Take the tips you like from this video only and just don't worry about the rest. One last thing, if you zoom out all the way, you're only going to be able to pull out the camera this far. In order to get a slightly better angle, you can go into settings and then go to display settings, go to camera graphics, and then in camera vision range, you're going to want to pull this all the way out to the right. You can also reduce the vibration for the screen when your screen shakes. I like to keep mine at 1, and I hit apply and confirm. Guys, thank you so much for checking out my video today. If you haven't already, please smash that like button if this helped you at all. Hit that subscribe button for more content in the future. Go follow me at twitch.tv/itspragma so we can hang out. And as always, grind harder, baby. Let's go!